In the heart of Cedar Grove, a small town with an air of nostalgia, stood an old Victorian house known as the Merriweather Estate. For decades, it had remained vacant, shunned by locals who whispered of its dark past. They spoke of strange occurrences, unexplained lights flickering in the windows, soft murmurs echoing through the halls, and an unsettling feeling that wrapped around the house like a thick fog. The story of the Merriweather Estate began in the late 1800s when it was built by Elias Merriweather, a prominent businessman known for his eccentricity. Rumor had it that Elias had lost his beloved wife, Clara, to a sudden illness, and his grief consumed him. He became reclusive, spending hours in the dimly lit rooms, painting her portrait over and over again. Some said he was trying to capture her spirit, while others claimed he was losing his mind. After Elias's death, the house passed through many hands, each family reporting strange happenings. The last occupants, a young couple named the Thompsons, moved in with dreams of restoration. They had heard the tales but dismissed them as mere folklore, until the night they first heard the whispers. It was late November when the Thompsons began to notice the house's oddities. At first, it was just a soft rustling, like leaves skittering across the floor. But as the nights grew colder, the whispers grew clearer, echoing through the hallways, calling out to them by name. Each night, they would sit together in the parlor, eyes wide, straining to understand the words that floated just beyond their grasp. One stormy evening, as thunder rumbled ominously overhead, the Thompsons decided to explore the attic, where they believed the remnants of Clara's belongings might lie. Climbing the creaking staircase, they felt an electric tension in the air, as if the house itself were holding its breath. The attic was a time capsule, filled with dust-covered trunks and faded photographs. In the far corner, they discovered a large, ornate mirror, its surface tarnished but still reflecting a dim glow. As they drew closer, the whispers intensified, swirling around them like a chilling wind. "Help me find me," a voice pleaded, and they could almost see Clara's sorrowful eyes gazing back at them from within the glass. In that moment, fear gripped their hearts, and they stumbled back, knocking over a stack of boxes that tumbled to the floor with a crash. Determined to uncover the truth, the Thompsons researched the estate's history. They discovered that Clara had mysteriously vanished shortly after Elias's death, her fate shrouded in secrecy. Legends spoke of her spirit wandering the house, trapped between worlds, searching for closure. Desperate to help, the couple organized a séance, inviting a local medium to communicate with Clara. That night, they gathered in the parlor, surrounded by candles flickering in the heavy darkness. The medium, a woman with deep-set eyes and a knowing smile, entered a trance, her voice rising and falling like a distant melody. "Clara," she called, "are you here with us?" Suddenly, a cold breeze swept through the room, extinguishing the flames and plunging them into darkness. The whispers returned, now urgent and frantic. "Find me, the truth," they echoed, reverberating through the walls. As the lights flickered back to life, the medium's expression shifted from calm to alarm. "You must leave this place," she warned, her voice trembling. "Clara is trapped, and her anguish will consume you." Ignoring the warning, the Thompsons pressed on, determined to uncover what had happened to Clara. They returned to the attic, drawn to the mirror. As they touched its surface, a vision flashed before their eyes. Clara, alone and afraid, hidden in a secret room within the house. Driven by urgency, they searched the estate until they stumbled upon a hidden door behind a bookshelf in the library. The door creaked open to reveal a small, dark chamber, its walls lined with Clara's paintings, each depicting her anguish and longing. In the center lay a small wooden box. Inside, they found Clara's diary, its pages filled with despair. She had been trapped in the house by Elias, who could not bear the thought of losing her to the world. Her spirit lingered, yearning for freedom, for someone to acknowledge her pain. With the diary in hand, the Thompsons read her final words aloud, promising to remember her story and release her spirit. As they spoke, the air grew lighter, and the whispers faded into a serene silence. The mirror shimmered, reflecting not Clara's sorrow but her smile, her spirit finally at peace. From that day forward, the Merriweather Estate stood quiet, the whispers transformed into a gentle breeze that danced through the halls. The Thompsons moved on, their hearts forever touched by Clara's story, sharing it with the townsfolk, ensuring that the house was no longer a place of fear, but a monument to a love that endured beyond the grave. And so, the Merriweather Estate became a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in darkness, the whispers of the past can guide us to the light. Months passed since the Thompsons had freed Clara's spirit, and life in Cedar Grove returned to a quiet normalcy. Yet, the Merriweather Estate remained a subject of fascination. With its haunting history now intertwined with a tale of redemption, the house drew curiosity seekers and ghost hunters from nearby towns. One particularly crisp autumn evening, a local historian named Arthur Ellis decided to explore the estate. He was captivated by the lore surrounding Clara and Elias, eager to document his findings for a book he was writing on haunted places in America. Armed with a flashlight and a camera, he stepped through the creaking front door, its hinges protesting as if to warn him away. As Arthur wandered the dimly lit rooms, he felt an odd energy pulsing through the air, like a heartbeat echoing in the silence. He paused in the parlor, where the Thompsons had held the séance, and felt a chill race down his spine. Despite the summer's warmth lingering outside, an icy draft curled around him, carrying faint whispers, remnants of the past that had once filled the space. Drawing on his extensive knowledge of the estate, Arthur headed to the attic, where Clara's mirror had once held her spirit captive. The air felt different up there, charged with a sense of purpose. He carefully examined the walls, looking for signs of the hidden room the Thompsons had found. After several minutes of searching, his fingers brushed against an imperceptible seam in the wood, and he felt a rush of excitement. With some effort, he pried the panel open to reveal a narrow passageway leading to the secret chamber. The air grew thicker as he stepped inside, and his flashlight beam danced across the old paintings that adorned the walls. Clara's eyes seemed to follow him, filled with both sorrow and a hint of gratitude. He approached the small wooden box, feeling an inexplicable pull toward it. As he opened it, a wave of memories flooded his mind. Clara's laughter, the warmth of a summer day, the loneliness that filled the estate after her disappearance. Among the diary pages, he discovered a faded photograph of Clara, Elias, and a young child, a boy with bright eyes and a hopeful smile. His heart raced as he recognized the resemblance to a boy he had met in town. David, the Thompson's son. Arthur's pulse quickened. What had happened to the boy? Why was he not mentioned in Clara's diary? Could there be more to the story? Determined to uncover the truth, Arthur returned to the Thompsons, now the proud owners of the estate. They welcomed him with warm smiles but were taken aback by his questions about the child in the photograph. "We didn't know Clara had a son," Julie Thompson admitted, her brow furrowing. "We thought Elias was alone after Clara's passing. No one in town mentioned a child." As they delved deeper into the mystery, Arthur learned that the town had a history of sweeping uncomfortable truths under the rug. The Thompsons, along with Arthur, began to piece together fragments of Clara's life, searching for clues that might lead them to the boy, who might have been lost to time. Their investigation led them to the town's archives, where they discovered that Clara had indeed given birth to a son shortly before her tragic death. His name was Samuel, and records showed that he had vanished around the same time Clara was thought to have disappeared. The townsfolk had whispered of a tragedy, a mother's heartbreak that had driven her to madness, but none had dared to ask further questions. The Thompsons and Arthur gathered all their findings and decided to return to the estate one last time to confront its lingering shadows. They set up an impromptu gathering in the attic, bringing candles and a sense of hope, prepared to call forth Clara once more. As they sat in a circle, the atmosphere grew electric. "Clara," Arthur spoke, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. "We are here to find your son. We want to help you." The air grew heavy with anticipation. Suddenly, the mirror shimmered, and the familiar whispers returned, echoing through the attic. "He is here, find him. Help him." Clara's voice, now stronger and more urgent, resonated in their minds. With a newfound determination, they turned to the diary once more, searching for any mention of Samuel's fate. Pages turned, revealing a hidden passage describing Clara's dreams of escape, of a plan to flee the confines of the estate with her son. The house, it held him, Julie whispered, piecing the story together. Perhaps he never left. As they explored the house further, they began to notice small signs. An old toy hidden beneath the floorboards, a child's laughter that seemed to echo in the hallways, and a sense of watchfulness that enveloped them. It was as if Clara's spirit was guiding them, urging them to uncover the final pieces of the puzzle. Just as they felt they were nearing the truth, a sudden loud crash resonated from the attic's corner. Heart racing, Arthur and the Thompsons rushed to investigate, their flashlights illuminating the darkness. What they found sent chills down their spines. A small door, previously unnoticed, now ajar, inviting them into the unknown. With a collective breath, they exchanged glances filled with apprehension and determination. Clara's whispers echoed in their ears, pushing them forward. Together, they stepped through the threshold, ready to confront whatever awaited them in the shadows of the past. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. As Arthur and the Thompsons crossed the threshold, the air shifted. The small room was cloaked in darkness, the corners shrouded in an oppressive stillness that felt alive. With shaky hands, Arthur raised his flashlight, illuminating the space. Dust motes danced in the beam, revealing walls lined with faded wallpaper, flowers entwined with vines, now peeling and brittle. In the center stood a small, rickety table, its surface cluttered with forgotten toys. A weathered teddy bear, a wooden train, and a rusted tin soldier, all coated in layers of dust. It was a child's sanctuary, untouched by time yet deeply imbued with sorrow. As they took in the sight, a sense of loss washed over them, and they felt Clara's presence more strongly than ever. "Clara?" Julie called softly, her voice trembling. "Is Samuel here?" The room seemed to sigh, and for a fleeting moment, the temperature dropped. Then, from the shadows, a faint glow began to emerge, illuminating a corner of the room. There, partially hidden behind an old trunk, they saw a small figure, a boy, no more than 6 or 7, with tousled hair and wide, curious eyes. "Mommy?" he whispered, a sound like fragile glass breaking. Stunned, Arthur and the Thompsons exchanged looks of disbelief. "Samuel?" Arthur ventured, stepping closer. "We're here to help you." The boy blinked slowly, his expression shifting from confusion to recognition. "You found me." His voice was barely above a whisper, trembling as if it could shatter like ice. "I've been waiting for so long. Where have you been?" Julie knelt down, her heart aching at the sight of the lost child. We thought you were gone." Samuel's gaze drifted to the floor, the weight of grief pressing down on him. "I hid in the shadows. Daddy said we had to stay quiet." He glanced around the room, a flicker of fear crossing his face. "But Mommy, she said I could come out." Arthur felt a rush of emotion as he realized the truth. Clara hadn't just been searching for her son. She had kept him close, even in death. "Clara?" he called out again, a mix of urgency and tenderness in his voice. "We know you're here. We want to help you both find peace." Suddenly, the air thickened, and the shadows deepened. Clara's presence enveloped the room, a palpable energy that seemed to wrap around them like a protective cloak. The glow intensified, illuminating Samuel's face, revealing a mixture of hope and uncertainty. "Mommy!" Samuel cried, reaching out with tiny hands. "I want to go home." With that, a soft light filled the room, coalescing into the shimmering figure of Clara, her ethereal form radiating love and warmth. She knelt beside her son, brushing her fingers through his hair, a serene smile breaking through her sorrow. "My sweet boy, I've missed you," she whispered, her voice soothing like a lullaby. The Thompsons stood back, awed by the reunion before them. It was a moment of pure magic and heartache, one that transcended time and space. They could feel the bond between mother and child, a connection forged in love that death could not sever. "Clara," Arthur said gently. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You can both be free. Clara turned to him, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I was trapped by my grief, she admitted, her voice breaking. I couldn't let him go. I was afraid of what he would face without me. But you don't have to protect him anymore, Julie urged, her heart swelling with empathy. You can release him and find peace together. Samuel looked up at his mother, his small hand reaching out. I'm not scared anymore, Mommy. I want to be with you. Clara's spirit shimmered, a mixture of sorrow and relief crossing her face. You're so brave, my love. You deserve to live your life, to grow and be happy. As Clara spoke, the room filled with a warm light, and Arthur felt the air pulse with energy. Let go, he urged them both. Embrace what lies ahead. With a nod of understanding, Clara took Samuel's hand, and together they faced the light that swirled around them. The atmosphere buzzed with a palpable sense of transformation, and the shadows receded, revealing a path bathed in luminescence. Suddenly, a voice broke through the stillness, one that was deep and anguished. Clara! It was Elias, appearing in a dark corner, his form heavy with regret. Don't leave me! The atmosphere shifted again, tension radiating as the three stood frozen, the specter of a man burdened by his past. Clara's expression changed, a mixture of fear and compassion flickering across her face. Elias! It's time to let go. Elias stepped forward, desperation etched into his features. I couldn't bear losing you. I thought keeping you here would protect you. But Clara's resolve hardened. You trapped me in your grief, Elias. You didn't give me the choice to live. Let me go so I can take Samuel with me. The air crackled with emotion, and the light brightened, casting shadows that danced on the walls like memories of the past. Clara, Elias pleaded. We can still be together. I can fix this. As he reached out, Clara stood tall, her spirit radiant. You need to forgive yourself, Elias. Let me and our son be free. Samuel squeezed Clara's hand, his small face alight with hope. We can be together in a different way, Daddy. You just have to be brave. The room fell silent, and Arthur, sensing the weight of the moment, urged them on. This is your chance. Embrace the light, all of you. It's time to heal. Elias's expression shifted, confusion and sorrow mixing with a dawning realization. Slowly, he stepped back, the darkness around him beginning to recede. I never meant for this to happen. I loved you both. Clara's spirit softened, the love she felt for both her son and husband radiating from her. I know, Elias, and it's time for all of us to move on. As the warmth enveloped them, Clara and Samuel turned toward the light, and Elias, too, seemed to shift, his figure softening in the glow. I'm sorry, he whispered, his voice barely audible. I'm so sorry. With one final look, Clara nodded, her smile radiant as she guided Samuel into the light. Together, they stepped forward, merging into a brilliant glow that filled the room with warmth and peace. As the light enveloped them, the attic shimmered, transforming the space into a sanctuary, a place of healing where love triumphed over sorrow. Arthur and the Thompsons stood in awe, witnessing a moment of profound beauty. The air around them felt lighter, the shadows that once haunted the estate now dissipating into nothingness. But as the light began to fade, a sudden realization struck Arthur. What will happen to the house? The story doesn't end here. And just as he spoke, the walls of the attic seemed to resonate, a hum filling the air as if responding to his question. The house, once a vessel of pain and secrets, had transformed. Now it pulsed with a new energy, a living testament to the power of love, healing, and the whispers of the past. As Arthur and the Thompsons stood there, something within them shifted too. They felt a calling, a purpose greater than themselves, to share the story, to ensure that Clara and Samuel's legacy would never be forgotten. But what lay ahead, and how they would navigate this new chapter, remained shrouded in mystery, waiting for the next brave soul to unlock the estate's true potential. As the ethereal light faded, Arthur and the Thompsons stood in a state of wonder, their hearts still racing from the profound moment they had witnessed. The attic, once cloaked in sorrow, now felt alive with possibility, as if the house itself had taken a breath, exhaling the pain of its past. "Do you feel that?" Julie whispered, glancing at Arthur. "It's different now. It's like the house is awake." Arthur nodded, a sense of purpose igniting within him. "We need to document this. The story of Clara and Samuel and Elias too. It's vital that people understand what happened here, how love and forgiveness can transcend even death." Together, they began to gather their thoughts, taking notes on everything they had experienced. The more they spoke, the more they realized how interconnected the threads of their lives had become, how a simple exploration had turned into a journey of healing for everyone involved. Just as they were wrapping up their discussion, a soft breeze swept through the attic, rustling the pages of Clara's diary left open on the table. They turned to see the last few lines glowing faintly as if responding to their intentions. "Look!" Arthur exclaimed, pointing at the words that seemed to shimmer. "It's as if Clara wants us to read it again." With reverence, they gathered around the diary. The page they focused on read, "To those who find my story, know that love is a bridge between worlds. It binds us together even when we are apart. Forgiveness is the key to our freedom, and only through understanding can we heal." Tears filled Julie's eyes as she whispered, "This is more than just a story. It's a message." Suddenly, a low rumble reverberated through the house, vibrating the floorboards beneath their feet. The air felt charged with energy, and they exchanged worried glances. "What was that?" Arthur asked, a mix of excitement and concern flickering in his voice. "I don't know," Julie replied, stepping cautiously toward the staircase. "But it seems like something is shifting. The house might still have more to reveal." As they descended the stairs, the rumbling continued, echoing like distant thunder. They reached the main floor, and the sound grew louder, as if it were coming from the basement. Curiosity and trepidation propelled them forward. The basement door creaked open, revealing a dimly lit staircase spiraling down into darkness. They hesitated for a moment, exchanging uncertain glances. "Should we go down there?" Arthur asked. "We have to," Julie insisted, her resolve firm. "If there's more to uncover, we can't turn back now." With flashlights in hand, they descended the stairs, the air growing colder with each step. The light illuminated cobwebs that clung to the walls like ghostly veils. Finally, they reached the bottom and found themselves in a cavernous room lined with old crates and forgotten artifacts. A heavy sense of anticipation hung in the air. In the center of the room, an old wooden chest sat, its surface intricately carved with swirling patterns. The chest seemed to pulse with a faint light, mirroring the warmth they had felt earlier. Arthur approached it cautiously, a sense of reverence washing over him. "What do you think is inside?" "Only one way to find out," Julie said, her heart racing. Together, they lifted the lid, and a cascade of light spilled forth, illuminating the space around them. Inside the chest lay a collection of letters tied with a faded ribbon, alongside more photographs of Clara, Elias, and Samuel, moments of joy frozen in time. But what caught their attention was a small, ornate box nestled within the letters. "Look at this," Arthur said, gently lifting the box from the chest. It was adorned with delicate engravings, and as he opened it, he gasped. Inside was a locket, shimmering like the morning sun. It was a delicate piece, engraved with the initials C and S. "What do you think it is?" Julie asked, leaning closer. "Maybe it belonged to Clara," Arthur speculated. "It could have been a keepsake, something to hold on to as a reminder of her love for Samuel." As he lifted the locket, a wave of warmth enveloped him. He could almost hear Clara's voice again, urging them to continue their journey. "We have to share this," he said, feeling a deep connection to the items before them. These letters might hold the key to understanding their story even further. Just then, a soft rustling noise filled the room, drawing their attention to a corner where shadows seemed to gather. From the darkness emerged a figure, a young woman with a familiar look, her expression both serene and sorrowful. Clara? Julie breathed, stepping forward, recognizing the unmistakable likeness of the woman from the photographs. Is it really you? The spirit of Clara nodded, her presence radiating warmth. Thank you for finding my story, she said, her voice echoing in the cavernous space. You've given my son and me a chance to heal. Arthur's heart raced as he realized the magnitude of their discovery. We want to help you, to tell the world what happened here, he urged. Clara smiled, a flicker of hope illuminating her ethereal features. There are still stories to be told, truths to be uncovered. My love for Samuel never died, and now it can guide you. With a wave of her hand, the room shimmered, and visions began to unfold around them. Flashes of Clara's life before the tragedy, moments of laughter and joy with her family, and the heartbreaking isolation that followed Elias's descent into despair. They watched in awe as the scene shifted, revealing a hidden side of the Merriweather Estate, a sanctuary that had once flourished with life. But then it darkened, showing the suffocating grip of grief that ensnared Elias, a man who had lost everything and didn't know how to let go. Please, you must help my story be known, Clara pleaded. Help others understand the power of love and forgiveness. My son deserves to be remembered. As the visions faded, Arthur felt a sense of purpose solidify within him. We will, Clara. We promise. But just as they were about to leave the basement, another rumble shook the floor. The sound was more intense now, reverberating like a warning. We need to hurry, Julie urged, glancing around nervously. Something's not right. As they ascended the staircase, the house trembled once more, and dust rained down from the ceiling. What's happening? Arthur shouted over the noise. I think it's the house, Julie exclaimed. It's trying to release its burdens, but it needs our help to do it. With newfound determination, they raced back to the attic, where Clara had once found solace. The room felt charged with energy, the air thick with expectation. What do we do? Arthur asked, urgency in his voice. Clara's spirit materialized beside them, her expression one of fierce determination. You must let go of the past, acknowledge the pain, but allow the love to guide you. Share my story, and the house will transform. In that moment, Arthur and the Thompsons felt the weight of history bearing down on them, the anguish of countless souls trapped within these walls. We will tell your story, Arthur declared. We'll make sure Clara and Samuel are never forgotten. As they spoke, the room brightened, the light swelling around them, the echoes of the past fading into a harmonious melody. With each word, they felt the house responding, the energy shifting, preparing to release the burdens it had carried for so long. But just as they felt the atmosphere shift, a final crash reverberated through the attic, shaking the very foundations of the estate. They turned, fear gripping them, as they saw a shadowy figure emerging from the doorway. It was Elias, his form shifting and flickering, a mixture of anger and desperation etched on his face. No, you can't take them from me, he shouted, his voice filled with anguish. Elias! Clara's voice rose above the chaos. You must let go. It's time for all of us to find peace. The tension in the room escalated, the light battling against the darkness. Arthur and the Thompsons stood firm, their hearts racing, ready to confront the final remnants of sorrow that clung to the estate. Elias, you have to understand, Julie urged, stepping forward. Clara and Samuel need to be free. Holding onto the past will only keep you trapped. Love is stronger than this pain. Elias hesitated, his shadowy form flickering uncertainly. But I can't lose them again, he replied, his voice cracking. You won't lose them, Arthur said firmly. You can honor their memory and still let them go. Love endures, even when they are not physically here. As Clara's spirit extended her hand, the room glowed brighter, illuminating the shadows that had haunted them for so long. Elias's expression softened, a flicker of understanding breaking through the despair. With trembling hands, he stepped closer to Clara, their eyes meeting for the first time in what felt like eternity. I was so afraid, he whispered, the darkness around him beginning to dissipate. I didn't know how to let go. Clara smiled gently, her voice a soothing balm. You must find it in your heart, Elias. Forgive yourself, and in doing so, set us free. The attic trembled, the air thick with anticipation as the three souls stood poised at the. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story. The attic trembled, charged with the energy of release as Clara, Samuel, and Elias stood together, the past swirling around them like a storm. Forgive yourself, Clara urged, her voice a gentle echo that resonated deep within Elias's heart. Let love guide you. With a shuddering breath, Elias stepped forward, tears streaming down his face. I'm so sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I didn't know how to move on. As he spoke those words, the room brightened, enveloping them in a warm glow. Clara and Samuel reached for Elias's hands, their figures shimmering with light. The shadows around them began to dissipate, transforming into a soft mist that floated away. I love you, Clara whispered, a smile breaking through her sorrow. We'll always be together in spirit. As the light swelled, Clara, Samuel, and Elias began to merge with it, their forms dissolving into a radiant glow that filled the attic. The air grew warm and fragrant, a sense of peace settling over the room as the last remnants of their anguish were lifted away. Arthur and the Thompsons watched in awe, tears of joy streaming down their faces. They felt the house around them shift, the oppressive weight of sorrow replaced with a vibrant energy, pulsing with love and life. When the light finally faded, the attic was transformed. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating the space that had once been a prison of grief. The whispers had ceased, replaced by a serene silence. We did it, Julie breathed, looking around in disbelief. They're finally free. Arthur nodded, filled with a sense of purpose. Now we can share their story. This house is a testament to love, healing, and forgiveness. With Clara's diary and the treasures they had uncovered, they made a pact to honor the legacy of the Merriweather Estate. They would ensure that the stories of Clara, Samuel, and Elias lived on, reminding future generations that even in darkness, love could prevail. As they stepped out into the sunlight, the Merriweather Estate stood proud and unburdened, a beacon of hope in Cedar Grove, its walls now echoing with the gentle whispers of a love that transcended time. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story.